Your weather first with Storm Team 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Storm Team 5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Sabb. We do have some scattered rain showers and embedded thunder showers moving through east central and northeast Wisconsin here this afternoon. This is all out ahead of a warm front, which will be bringing in the hottest air of the year. We're talking 90s for tomorrow and also additional storm chances. 63 though right now, certainly not hot here in Green Bay. It's 88 out to the west in the Twin Cities. That is the warmth that'll be spreading east behind the warm front. Rain showers exiting fairly early this evening, then clearing. Mild and muggy here already here for tonight. We'll be timing out the storm threat for your Tuesday in the area's most accurate forecast. Local 5 News begins right now.
Your stories, our community. This is Local 5 News with Chris Schuler and Chief Meteorologist Luke Sabb.
Let me be clear. Peaceful protest, 100% supportive. Criminal activity, 100% prosecution.
Right now on Local 5 News, area police officers and residents give their reaction as protests take place across northeast Wisconsin. And good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Local 5 News at 4. I'm Chris Schuler. Well, we have learned new information surrounding a protest that started out peacefully in Green Bay but turned violent against Green Bay police and local businesses hours later. Also, Green Bay's mayor has announced a curfew for tonight starting at 9 p.m. It's going to be ending on June 3rd at 6 a.m. Local 5's Eric Richards was at a press conference today, and it was held a short time ago. He has more.
Violence erupted during a second day of protest Sunday night in downtown Green Bay. According to Green Bay Police Chief Andrew Smith, there was a shooting that took place at the Marathon gas station at Walnut and Monroe. Some of the members of the protest began looting the store when the shots rang out.
By the time I got there, half of the store was on the floor, it seemed to be. But at some point, as this group was inside of there, someone from outside of the building began shooting rounds into the building.
The good news there, no one was injured in that shooting. Some officers suffered minor injuries after they were struck by debris and other objects as the protests got out of hand. In response to the violence, the city is looking into implementing a mandatory curfew for all residents of Green Bay.
Based on the experience that we had last night, I think it's appropriate that we put that safeguard in place and make sure that people are able to peaceably assemble, during the day. But when night falls, they understand that it's important to be safe and to be at home.
For anyone who lives in the area who might be concerned about their safety, there is a message for you.
I would just say that the Green Bay Police Department, the fire department, myself, our entire staff at City Hall are committed to doing everything we absolutely can to keep everybody in this community safe.
And for those who committed crimes during the protest, there's also a message for you.
If you're sitting at home with a smug look on your face thinking you got away with something, don't be so smug if the police come knocking on your door in the next couple days and take you to sheriff's jail.
So police are looking for the person responsible for that shooting last night. If you have any information, you are urged to contact them. In Green Bay, Eric Richards, Local 5 News.
And we have also learned just now that Ashwaubenon, the village of Ashwaubenon, is considering a similar curfew just like Green Bay's. We'll have more on these stories later tonight. All right, the violence last night was a disappointment for many members of the Black Lives Matter movement. Outside of that Marathon gas station today, the group's members cleaned up around businesses damaged during that violent standoff between a number of protesters and Green Bay police. Many small businesses ended up being impacted by the violence. The owner of a clothing store in the city says he got a call in the middle of the night that his business was broken into.
I don't get why the businesses are being destroyed. I don't think that's part of the people who trying to support and fight for the original justice cause. These are just isolated incidents of people looking for opportunity to steal.
One volunteer says she took time today to clean up with others because violence was the last thing they wanted to have happen this past weekend. Another business in downtown Green Bay sustained some damage because of yesterday's protests. Fortunately, the cleanup process wasn't too bad for furs and clothing of distinction. The front window was busted by a brick, which was boarded up earlier today. There was just damaged property, but employees said they're all okay.
It's just a little bit of a hurdle through everything, and it really is. It's part of business, and unfortunately, these things do happen, and you know, we're very sorry for everything that's going on, and our hearts just break for everyone in the nation.
And the business plans to carry on and to remain open. A second Black Lives Matter protest is planned in Appleton today. On Saturday, thousands of protesters rallied at Houdini Plaza to protest the treatment of George Floyd. Organizers for today's rally tell Local 5 they want to make sure their cause doesn't get lost amid the violent rioting. So a peaceful rally is planned today at Houdini Plaza. Appleton Police Chief Todd Thomas wants Black Lives Matter protesters to know that blue lives sympathize with their cause.
We agree with a lot of what they're saying. What we saw happen in Minneapolis was just horrific. No law enforcement officer with any credibility would approve of that or condone it. So we condemn it along with them.
Again, this protest in Appleton will be taking place at 5 o'clock tonight. Well, the Fond du Lac community also came out to protest yesterday, and they were joined by the county sheriff. Sheriff Ryan Woldschmidt was spotted talking to protesters about the narrative they wanted to see in Fond du Lac. The sheriff told officers streets would be shut down so protesters' voices could be heard.
Let's do that. Let's make that accommodation. Yes. We appreciate your cooperation with us. We appreciate and hear your voices, and we will continue to work with you like we have for a long, long time here. Thank you.
Individual deputies also joined the protest and walked with them. The sheriff says they were not working but came on their own time. Turning now to a Local 5 Consumer Watch report. Protests turned violent are prompting a slew of retail stores to shut. The Walmart closed several hundred stores at 5 p.m. yesterday, says it will reevaluate each day. CVS says it has also temporarily closed or reduced hours at some locations. Amazon's Whole Foods says it is temporarily closing or adjusting hours at some U.S. locations. And Amazon says it has suspended deliveries on some of its routes. Nike's latest ad campaign pivots to a different tone, titled For Once, Don't Do It. Now, it features a series of short, powerful don't do messages like don't turn your back on racism, don't accept innocent lives being taken in front of us, and don't think this doesn't affect you. Nike is known to be at the forefront of social issues like its 2018 campaign featuring former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick. And airlines are petitioning the government for service cuts amid an ongoing drop in travel because of the pandemic. 15 carriers have applied for some type of service suspension, including heavyweights American, Delta, and United. Cities that stand to lose a route or an airline include New Orleans and Aspen, Colorado. Well, some states are moving towards reopening certain businesses, but across the nation, people continue to work from home, kids are learning from home, and everyone is online. And that's led to families dealing with slow internet, but there are some simple solutions.
Like millions of Americans, CNET tech expert Dan Ackerman is working from home. So is his wife. His son is taking classes, and his mom is with them as well.
I've got 4 people here in the house right now, and we're all online all the time.
Ackerman says if your internet seems slow, you may want to check the speed. There are several speed tests online. Most households only need download speeds of 35 to 50 megabits per second. More than 100 is considered fast. Upload speeds of 10 or even higher may be needed if your day involves uploading files or video conferencing.
Now, the secret is you don't just do it in one place. You go around to different places in your house. You try it in the bedroom. You try it in the living room.
Internet connections could be weak in parts of the house depending on the location of your Wi-Fi router. Leaving it under or behind furniture can hurt the signal.
Take that router. Make sure it's not behind a closed door. Maybe put it up on a shelf so it's a little higher.
And many Wi-Fi routers show 2 options for your device to join the network, including the 5 gigahertz band, or 5G for short.
2 different bands, 2.4 gigahertz band and the 5 gigahertz band. Now, generally speaking, the 5 gigahertz band is faster, but the range is not as good as the 2.4. So further away, you may get a more stable signal if you switch to the 2.4. 90% of the time, your devices and your router will choose automatically for you which one is best.
If that doesn't help, a Wi-Fi extender may improve performance. Several companies now sell devices that connect to give your signal a boost.
Each one of them is its own router, but when you put them together, they seamlessly form a mesh network that cover your entire house very well.
And having good coverage can help ensure everyone logged on in the house stays connected. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego, California.
Well, 2 NASA astronauts woke up today on board the International Space Station. Coming up, how they were able to make history in space over the weekend. And a new Lego kit of a model car that costs around $380,000.
And we'll get a quick surge of heat and humidity, highs in the 90s, followed by strong storms, the area's most accurate forecast in 9 minutes.
All right, 4:10 in the afternoon. Time now for a Local 5 live traffic report, courtesy of the DOT's Traffic Camera Network. It's wet on the roads. If you're heading out in a bit, drive carefully. And we're back after this.
You're watching Local 5 News with Chris Schuler.